Right, let's crack on with the video. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Triple B podcast. This is episode 6, and I bet you never thought you would see me sat here talking with who? That's right, Rara. Introduce yourself, Rara, although no introductions are really necessary.
Hey, I mean, you know me, they know me. I don't know what else to say. You can call me who, you can call me blah blah, you can call me rah rah. I'm here.
So, right, let's get straight into it then. How did it feel? Right. In fact, you know what? We won't start there. We'll start with when you actually reached out to me. I hadn't heard of you at that point, and then when you did reach out to me, I was excited to actually collab. Maybe, yeah. Let's get into it. Let's see what he wants to do. And then when you told me what it was you wanted to do, which was interview a rage hacker essentially, who you then informed me it was Bricky Rage Gaming, and obviously I have my own issues with him and a group of other, like a big group of other hackers, as they call themselves, who were trying to DDoS me, they were trying to dox me, they were putting out personal information online. I mean, half that information was wrong, but they were still trying it, which is why I didn't want to do the collab at the time. But what I want to know is, at what point did you sort of change your opinion of me as a content creator or as a person?
Yeah, I got no problem getting into that. I will say, so going back to even us first meeting, our first interaction, when I first messaged you, it was because someone in that Discord, I joined it because I was told about it and it was like a good place to get all these hackers to expose them. And I was like, this would be perfect to talk about the issue with Facebook. I had an MO going into it right off the rip. And when I got into there, I got messages instantly from a lot of them, like telling me they're gonna dox me and blah blah blah. And I wasn't too worried because one, none of my stuff is public, and even if they tried to get it, I moved, so nothing even there was good enough. So I wasn't really worried about anything. Um, but one of them kept throwing at me. He's like, "We got Beaman, so we'll get you." And I'm like, "Who the fuck is that, Beaman?" And I looked you up. I found you. You were either like 1 or 2K at the time, and I was probably like around that same size. I was probably like 5 or 6K. Somewhere. I know we were like pretty neck and neck still there.
No, we were
But we
neck and
weren't.
neck at the time. You had 16K, but I jumped from 2.5 to like 5K in about a week. That's how you were on 16K. I was on like 5.5, but it
Mhm.
went pretty quick after that for me.
Well, I mean, even that jump, like with my jump, it was very similar. There's a
Yeah.
crazy jump that happens. But so I go, all right, well, who is he? And I look you up and I see, oh, you got a couple of videos on exposing cheaters. And those were the videos that were doing well, even for my channel. And it wasn't the main content I wanted to do, but I enjoy the documentary side of it and really covering, you know, the full story. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Let me message him and see what's going on. And when you said that you didn't wanna do it, I think it was, like, past when I already filmed the video.
Yeah.
Um, but I totally understood and whatnot, and it didn't really matter to me, but then when I started watching more of your videos, the thing that, I think the thing that turned me off from your content for a while was it didn't feel that you were guiding your audience in the right direction, and that was the part that was rubbing me the wrong way, was if I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna break down a gameplay, right? If I'm not 100% sure this person is cheating, or I'm not 100% sure that they're not cheating, I'm not gonna make the video. That's always been something that I've very firmly stood on, with my own content, and I know there's guys that could care less, and I do think that you do care about what you're saying, and you do believe what you're saying. Um, but at that time, I was so firmly against the idea of, hey, you shouldn't put out a video that says, in my opinion. Don't say in my opinion. That was how I felt. It's like,
Okay.
say it's a fact or it's not. And so because of that, there were so many videos of just, are they cheating or are they not? That it got me to the point where I was like, this guy isn't worth working with. So that's where the fuse started to start. And I used some poor choice of words too, because I one was frustrated that I had people coming in my chat on the regular saying, "Did you hear so and so's cheating?" I'm like, what, he goofed? He showed cheats or something on stream, or like it was a clear walling incident? Like what happened? And everybody, well, no, he was just shooting at this guy. And I was like, what do you mean? And they sent me your video. So then that's where a lot of it got frustrating for me because it was happening like mid game. And I'm like, why am I reading people talking about things that I don't believe?
So you felt like it sort of involved you, the fact that people were messaging in your chat about it then, and that's sort of why you sort of put yourself in a position where you felt, right, I'm going to make some videos on this guy. Because there was a couple of videos that you wound up making about me, which
Yep.
they don't exist anymore, or they're privatized, one or the other.
So I took those videos down. One, because I felt it was just negative content. Negative content isn't good. No matter what angle you look at it, if you're a fan of mine or you're an enemy of mine, who cares? You don't like negative content. No one does. Um, and the people that do like negative content aren't going to be good friends or good fans. They're going to be people that just are negative and will never want to be positive. So
Well,
I felt like that content, one, was bad, but two, I felt a lot of the things I said were just unwarranted. I was very over aggressive with you. And although we probably could have sat down and did something like this then, I don't think you were ready and I don't think I was ready. I think both of us needed time to kind of cover our own bases.
well, for me personally, I mean, I get what you're saying about the negative content, and I do think that some of your videos were negative. However, right, one
Mhm.
of the ones you kept up, which was the diss track, I watched that and I have got that literally, like it's on my watch list. It's saved on YouTube, and I do watch it quite often because I think it's hilarious. The fact that you went on about Big Badder's titties in it, like that was the best line in that whole diss track for me. I think that was fantastic. But just spinning back to how you were saying about like the opinion base in my videos, there's a big reason behind that, and I think you know why it is. If somebody shows a cheat menu, or if somebody is literally stood there snapping onto 50 different targets in a 5-second period, you know for a fact they're cheating. But any Tom, Dick, or Harry could spot that. And this is the difference, is that there were so many that I've called out whilst putting my opinion on it, who eventually have come down the line, accidentally showed their cheat menu, or have caught glimpses of wall hacks in the side of the headset, the reflection off the glasses. And that, I understand what you're saying about it being opinion based. Maybe I should have put them all together as one, piled up, or just saved all the clips and then eventually put something out once they were caught. But for me, it wasn't in any way to cause negativity in the Call of Duty scene. It wasn't in any way to blast the people that I was putting videos out about. It was to actually expose how big the cheating problem was in Call of Duty, which brings me to the next part of this. Do you think the amount of people who know about the cheating issue in Call of Duty now would know about it if it wasn't for people putting videos out like I do, and other channels as well on YouTube?
Oh, well, one, I think it's good. It's a good thing for people to talk about. I always think you should question things at all times because if we didn't question things, we are literally sheep. We should always question things. And I think the Call of Duty hacking problem, yes, it was already big and it was a problem, but I do think in a way it grew even bigger when not only you guys, but other content creators shed light on it, right? People who are just spectating a hacker. My video sitting down and interviewing a hacker, like you mentioned, Baruka Gaming. It's like there are so many things that grew this to the point that it is. And whether Ricochet is working or isn't is debatable because sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But what I will say is that I think it's a larger problem than we realize. I mean, even going back to when I first made that weird video about talking about the guy leaking, uh, you know, the information and selling it, very not well produced video. But when I did it, I was so upset, and I had that secret for a while because I was told if you tell this, it'll cause a problem. You can't publicly say it. Send it to the right people, and I did. but nothing was changing. And that's what had me so upset was it had been months and months and I was like, if I don't say it publicly,
Yeah.
this will not change. It'll just be whatever. So that's why I did. And people, roasted me for it, but then a year later, they come out with the new Ricochet, and
I think
before
the
it's even
issue with
out.
it wasn't about you getting roasted for the information you were putting out. It was the lack of proof behind your information, if you know what I mean. It was just this guy I know told me this, and that was sort of the proof you gave to back up your story. Now, I listened to
Oh,
everything
yeah.
you said in that video, and I was like, do you know what? Right, a lot of this stuff he's saying, I can get behind it, and it makes complete sense. And I've actually referenced that in a couple of my videos whilst talking about the fact that there is, the cheating problem that's occurring. But you're talking about Ricochet anti-cheat now. I mean, I honestly am a firm believer that Ricochet anti-cheat is at the moment just a larger team of people doing manual bans. And I think it's working. I think that it's actually causing the cheaters a hell of a lot of problems because not only now have they been able to detect spoofers, the hardware, anything that can basically cover or mask the hardware ID, anything like that is causing these cheaters to, if they get perma banned, they've got to go and buy new hardware. You can't just use a spoofer anymore because all them spoofers are detected. And that brings me back to like rage hackers with Ricky with Rage Gaming. Now, I actually had him on last. I was informed prior to my interview with him. Somebody said to me, why don't you ask him about the interview he did with Rara and see what he has to say? Now, I'd been told that you'd cut things out of that interview to sort of fit a narrative, and that's what I asked him in mine in his chat the other day. And he said that you did leave things out and that you went in harsh on him. But I personally don't think you did go in harsh. I watched that and thought, he's being too nice. Like me, back then, I was so angry at the cheaters in the game. I felt like you were too nice, but Baricua, I thought you were being quite harsh on him. So I want to know, did you actually take anything out of that? And if you did, was there a reason behind it?
Sure. Yeah. No, I saw your interview with him this morning. Someone sent it to me in my DMs, and I was like, oh, okay, let me listen. So I listened to it while I was fixing my computer, and I hear that part, and you were asking him about that, and he felt that way. But I was like, did I? I watched the video back. There's not a single cut except for one time when he like aimbotted someone. I zoomed in on my face, and then another time, uh, like right at the end, I zoomed in on my face because he told his friends that he was playing with, "Go get him, boys." The last guy that was sitting in a house hiding from the hacker, and he was sitting out in the open doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well, that's not interesting on screen." So I'll zoom in on my face, and if you think about a Warzone game, right? They are 26 minutes roughly, give or take, depending on how aggressive the lobby is. I looked at a couple of my uncuts to just double check myself. So give or take a couple minutes. But when you have someone rage hacking, that's going to go a lot faster. That the video it starts like him jumping from the plane starts at 4 minutes into the gameplay and the video ends at like 26 minutes and 50 something seconds. So
Yeah.
there's no like cuts to like actual content. Like he's talking the whole time. The only like I can't remember if that last part where I zoom in on my face and it's not like a flattering part of the video either. It's me literally like this, like the
Yeah.
whole time listening and talking to him. And like I guess you could say when I'm thinking, I have a just a habit of like putting my fingers on my face and I'll sit there rubbing my face like this. And it's stupid, but that's what it's doing for that whole time. But I wanted to get his message out at the end because he's talking about how he feels like he wants to stop hacking. He's done with it. And the other part I heard in your interview was he felt that I was leading the interview and trying to force him to say things that he wouldn't have said. But really all I did in that whole video, if you go back and watch it, was I just played detective. When a detective feels like comfortable in a situation, they don't need a good cop, bad cop or anything like that. They're gonna sit there and they're just gonna, spoon feed you nice things to get you to talk more.
Yeah.
And that's all I did. I led the investigation through the whole video. Like I hate hackers. I don't care. They fucking suck. There was a reason I didn't like you at first, and it was because I knew you were publicly hacking. But it was like, to me, that was, you know, if I'm gonna get the information that I want from him, I need to be a nice guy, because no one's gonna want to talk to an asshole.
Yeah. I don't know, you know, a lot of people want to talk to me, and apparently I'm an asshole. So, I mean, it does work. But you said about me publicly cheating as well. Like, people seem to have this idea that I've been caught rage hacking in games, right? No one's caught me ever. Like, you've actually made a video about this as well, where there was a lot, and I mean a lot of misinformation in that video as well. First of all, yes, I did stream snipe Y8. This was before I even understood the streaming world. I think I'd done about 5 streams on YouTube at the time, and it was on Blackout on PlayStation 4. Didn't use any cheats whatsoever due to the fact it was on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
But that's something that me and Y8, we didn't sort it out, we didn't figure it out, but he blocked me on everything, and that was that. It got left behind. I was involved with a group of people at the time who I haven't spoken to for about maybe, 3 years now, maybe longer. But those guys wanted to do it on the daily, and I was just like, no, that was the end of it. I actually stream sniped Nitro Luke DX as well around the same time as well. He knows about that, but he's all right with me. Thought it was funny. He actually tried to 1v6 me and obviously 5 of my friends at the time, and it didn't go well for him. But, you know, there's a lot of misinformation going out. A lot of people think either that you've exposed me or somebody else has exposed me or I've been exposed again. But I've always been open and honest throughout the whole journey I've been on, that I do use cheats to test them. Started off in public, in private lobbies, but there's only so much you can do in private lobbies. And then there's the whole rage hacked for 96 games, which has come out more recently. And honestly, how many times do you think it would take to understand like one feature on a cheat menu? Like, there's rage hacking and there's soft hacking, but every single feature on a cheat menu has got 100. So 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 100, yeah? So the aim smoothness, 0 to 100. And the aim speed, 0 to 100. And you got the field of view slider, 0 to 100. With silent aim as well, all of those things can factor into it as well. And it's just so many different things. I didn't want to have to do any of that in public lobbies, but sometimes I needed to try and reenact something that I'd seen in a clip. Sometimes it was a case of a new feature being added. And the fact that people believe that I've been exposed for cheating is quite laughable, but that was something that you put out in one of your videos.
So the thing I'll say to that though is that when you think about how big your audience is, you can put together private lobbies. I mean, I do it all the time. Drifter does it all the time. Expel, Jack Frags, you name it. People can, pull their audience using Discord, using Twitter, whatever it may be, and say, hey, we're gonna do a test stream and test some things and try to figure this out. Join, you'll be in a video possibly because you'll be here, and we'll be able to get these things sorted. And, it'll be entertainment for them while doing it live, while also, educational for you because you get all this footage and you can verbatim reenact it rather than hopefully someone stands in this corner where I can peek them and shoot them the same way that guy did. You can do it easily and reenact it. And, I don't see, that as a great excuse to say, well, I had to do it in public lobbies because you have the resources just as I have the resources. And with that being said, is I knew you used to do it in private lobbies. I knew you. I never said you didn't cheat. I know that you did. I know that you did it in private lobbies as well. When it became more of like a, hey, we need to actually talk about this because this is ridiculous, is when you're known as the guy who is I'm going to stop this problem that is growing rapidly in your favorite game. But I am also one of those people who did it for 96 games. So you got to think 96 games, there's wager matches going on. There's possible tournaments going on. There's all these things that involve money and the game. Now, granted, you could argue, well, maybe some of those people are cheating too. And it's like, yeah, no, there probably is people cheating in those tournaments.
I wouldn't counter argue with that. I get your point exactly. Yeah, I do. I understand that.
Yeah,
but that could be said the same when using a VPN, couldn't it? If you were to use a VPN to get yourself nice, easy lobbies, you're not in a tournament, you're not doing anything. Because you've stated that you believe VPN usage should be fine. unless you're in a tournament. But somebody else in your lobby could well be in a tournament.
So this is what I'll say on the VPN usage, because I feel like there's a lot of misinformation also with that, is that people believe that VPNs, one, literally put you in the country that you're VPNing in. I don't know why that's still this like thing people don't understand. It doesn't. You are just fooling it so that the game says we can't find a lobby, put them in the nearest lobby. It's just a trick to
Yeah.
get you a better connection. Based on that, though, there are a better chance of you getting either a lower skill lobby and sometimes a higher skill lobby. It's now you're throwing it to chance, which has been Call of Duty for years and years and years. I mean, you played Blackout, you know what those lobbies were like. Sometimes they were insane.
Yeah.
Where I was in a lobby with Doug is Raw, Exact, Joe, all of them, or I had little Timmies running around having no idea what they're doing. So, that's Call of Duty to me. And I think they're actually starting to take the VPNs now at this point and phase them out with this skill-based hit reg. And the problem is just super obvious to all of us. It used to be a problem and we all talked about it, but we didn't think it was too significant. Now it's clear as day. And when I saw your video talking about how they nerfed the certain people using FOV, what's it called? Silent aim.
Silent aim, yeah.
They were doing that. They were just making their bullets not do any damage. And that could be an issue. I commented on that video and I said, no, we definitely do feel that hit reg is a problem and that it's possibly being used for and against players. So I'm with you on that it could be taken advantage of, or it could be, nerfing better players.
Yeah.
Who knows?
A lot of people out there are saying that obviously they use VPN because there shouldn't be skill-based matchmaking in the game anyway. And everyone who's saying that is already a good player. But the issue then is that there is actually skill-based matchmaking in the game. And the people who, aren't as good, the 0.7 KD players, the ones whose lobbies you're getting into with the VPN, they're having a horrible time. These are the casuals, the ones who've been to work on a 12-hour shift, or the kids who've been in school all day. They just want to go and play some games. And they're getting shit on by a streamer because the streamer's using a VPN. And I think that it has the same sentiment as somebody rage hacking in a lobby full of sweats. The sweats can't compete against the rage hacker, whereas these, as you call them, Timmies, can't compete against somebody with a 3KD, 4KD. And it's got that same sort of value to me. That's why I actually try to expose the use of VPNs. But I get what you're saying about the hit reg. And I believe that if I've seen a lot of streamers lately posting clips where they should definitely have won gunfights and they're not. And I think that's either due to them using something or, VPNing into a skill-based matchmaking broken lobby, which is allowing them to then basically shit on, as you said again, Timmy's, but that's actually stopping it now. And I think that you might be onto something with that. The bullet nerf to the silent aim, it's actually spreading out across multiple different things. They're trying to cover everything they can. I think Ricochet, when it first come out, it was I remember the big speech about it, about how it's going to be basically a trial and error, a trust factor. So you'll be in a trusted lobby or a not trusted lobby based on things that you're doing within the game, based on in-game reports, and it's going to be able to learn. And I think that when it first come out, everybody was like, yeah, it's here. And then all of a sudden, why is there still rage hackers in my game? And it went on from there. And I think gradually, step by step, it's starting to work. I genuinely do believe Ricochet will eventually take out, not majority, but a lot of the cheaters, the ones who can't afford to go and buy new hardware, the ones who haven't got the private cheats and so on. But then
I totally agree with you.
There's two different sides to it, though. There are always people who are able to get past anti-cheats. There have been so many people caught in Apex for cheating, whether that be injected cheats, whether that be DDoS and servers, or anything else. There's people who can reverse boost from Predator lobbies into Bronze lobbies on Apex, and these guys aren't getting banned. And these are in the top 100 Preds in the world, and they're not getting banned. How long have they been up to the little habits? So there's always going to be that group of people who are able to get away with it. So
Now, let me just touch on that for a second, because I've had this thought when thinking about Apex and everything else. Um, and this has been something that I think could save Ricochet and Warzone in general, because of the player base is literally dying off right now. I mean, 90% decrease in the last, like, I think it's like 6 months. So I will say, if you look at the whole format of the game and the argument of skill-based matchmaking shouldn't be in the game and everything else, I do think there should be a skill-based matchmaking. I do think you should protect the lower bracket and the people with disabilities and everything else, like, put them in a bracket. And I agree, it should be untouchable. Um, that being said, what I do think is the solution that will fix a lot of this is adding the ranked game mode and putting a cap on the ranked game mode, because one, if you want to play in it, you need to be a certain level, you need to have a certain amount of games played, you need to have certain things. And if you meet that criteria, now you are able to play. That will solve a lot of things. Now, yes, there will be people who grind and don't use their cheats, and then they get in and then they use it. But how many times is that going to happen until they get deterred? And so I see that as a good solution to slowly help. And then the other thing is in the unranked mode, either remove skill-based matchmaking completely or loosen it. Because at the end of the day, the content creators that are playing the ranked mode are going to be the ones that are being watched more.
yeah,
They are going to be the ones that, flourish, because you're going to see, oh, he dropped a 30 bomb in a gold or a diamond. Awesome. Compared to, oh, he dropped a 40 bomb in a wood. No one's going to care. So
yeah.
you figure that out, and it'll look a lot better. It'll play a lot better, and content creators will feel less, I think, stressed over it, because there's definitely stress when a game's dying.
Yeah.
You want to help in any way you can.
I think genuinely what you're saying about the ranked mode, if they brought ranked mode to Warzone, I think that would split away the legit players from any cheaters as well. But then it would also give, like, obviously, if they've got a ranked mode, it would allow the game developers to actually monitor what's going on within that ranked mode a hell of a lot clearer than what's going on in all these public lobbies. But ranked mode would definitely boost Warzone now. At the point it's at now, it's at an all-time low. Even after the Ricochet anti-cheat kernel driver, it's at an all-time low, because everybody was hoping that it'd just be cleared of cheaters, and it's not. You bring in a ranked mode to Warzone, it just booms again. It hits a peak, and it'll stay up there for at least a year. But I mean, there's talks of a new Call of Duty Warzone coming out, or at least a new Battle Royale. No, I don't know what the name of it's going to be yet, but there is talks. And I think hopefully they might incorporate a ranked mode into that. If they do you think you'd do well in ranked mode?
Oh, I 100% would have a great time with the ranked mode, and I think I would do well. Even when I use the VPN, 9 times out of 10, I'm doing solo duos, I'm doing solo trios, I'm doing duo quads. I'm not usually sitting there, trying to drop a 30 or a 40 using, a solo match. And if that even does happen, I usually say to myself, is the gameplay even good? Because maybe I got on and it's my warm up and I do my first solo and I go, it doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. I had a lobby, I'll tell you this, and this was out of VPN. This was first game on. I came back from Christmas. I took like 2 weeks off. So I was coming back and I was like, I need to catch up on videos. No VPN, got on the game, my first game, and my whole stream saw it. A point like 6 something lobby. And as soon as I got like 3 kills, I'm like, this lobby is absolutely a bot lobby, without a doubt. And I ended up throwing. I was like, I'm just gonna play like an idiot. And if I win it, okay. But I don't care, because this lobby is like disgustingly like not okay to be in for me.
Yeah. Get content out of it by like trolling the enemies and stuff.
Exactly. I thought I could get some good TikToks or something, but it's not gonna be a good video.
I've been in lobbies like that myself, honestly. I think that sometimes the game just throws you into it. It depends on the time of day as well in your area, whether or not people are online on your servers nearby. So you get thrown into whatever then. And sometimes it's bad. You'll get a sweaty lobby. Other times you get a bad lobby. You can tell when somebody's using a VPN off their pod tracker based on like consistency of them negative KD lobbies. But if somebody's getting like a cluster of 3, like 0.6, 0.8, 0.8, and then everything else is like 1.1 or 1.2, I don't think they're using VPN. I think, it's just thrown them into that. Or maybe they've had a hard time in the 1.1s and 1.2s, so they get thrown into the negative lobbies. But I mean, that's all just like surrounding the VPN issues. But with the beef that we used to have, right? Well, that you said we had, right? I want to know where that started, because personally, like, we had a back and forth conversation. I've read through it as well before we started this, because it's still there. And I don't feel like there was anything said that was sort of beef worthy. And I want to know whether or not it was to do with certain tags that I used in my videos, because I knew that you would see them, or the fact that I referred to you as who and blah blah. Is that what you think that was us having beef?
Well, no, I think for the beginning where I started calling it beef was I will say the tags was, I was like, damn, I'm sniffing bike seats.
Clip
what
it.
Do you mean?
Clip it.
But that being said, I looked at the videos though, and it wasn't the way you were like referring to me necessarily. It was the fact that I definitely sparked off a video, and I was expecting you to have a rebuttal. I wanted to talk about it with you. I wanted to have, a little back and forth so that we can like hear more about this. I was like, we haven't seen his gameplay, which we'll talk about, but we haven't seen his gameplay. We haven't like seen where his skill level is. And when I like talked all that shit and everything else, and then I'm waiting for you to say, well, here it is. It wasn't coming. And so I'm like, I know he's seen these. I know his fans have sent it. Just as when you make a video and even mention my name, it's sent to me. So it's a constant thing. The thumbnails, I was like, okay, this man's definitely got beef. If that was to happen with anyone else, I'd be like, nah, fuck this guy. But when I saw the thumbnails, I was like, nah, it's on. But the diss track, I forgot what exactly sparked me to do the diss track because it's been so long. But it was something that I was just like, all right, I'm gonna have
I done an intro to a video, and I went today,
yeah,
and you used that. So I think that sort of maybe sparked it off for you. But you used that, yeah.
Wait, no, I do remember. It was so when you did that, it was in the Baruka Rage Gaming one where you were talking, not the podcast, but when you were talking about the Raging Nation, and you labeled me as a promoter of hacks by making that video. And what I got angry about when I saw that was that video itself was picked up by Charlie Intel, and it was put on blast that Facebook Gaming is letting cheaters stream their cheats, that it's not against their TOS, and that this needs to change, because that was the whole point of the video to start. They picked it up, and within 24 hours, it changed. They said, okay, we're changing the TOS. Now, do people obviously go through the cracks? Yeah. But they said right then and there, okay, we have to change at least our TOS. And that's a big win to me. So when I saw it, it was like, well, he's actually promoting cheats. I'm like, that's the opposite of what I'm doing.
Well, I actually think I commented on that tweet from Charlie Intel. I said something like, I'd like to think I had a big part to play in this. I had a lot of your fans coming in like, fuck off, fuck BadBoy Beaman, fuck Triple Bit, all that. But it wasn't just your fans, it was many others as well. But I mean, I had people saying, no, this is all rah-rah, this is all rah-rah. And obviously I was going, who? And I mean...
Is that where that sparked? Is that where that came from?
Yeah, I mean, every time somebody sent me one of your videos, I would respond to them saying, who? That was it. And then if ever I needed to say anything, I would just put who in capital letters, and then all my fans in the comments would be like, who? I thought it was hilarious, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure you saw the funny side of it as well. I knew for a fact that you wanted that back and forth with me there. I knew you wanted it, and I didn't want to give you it at that time. I didn't want to give you it. Didn't want to have a talk with you. I didn't feel it was necessary. due to the fact that I felt like you'd gone the wrong way, because as you said about that interview and the way I spoke about it, and it sort of included you with the Raging Nation community, was because I felt like you were literally just being dead nice with him, real nice, like almost like you were friends, and you didn't grill him. And I personally, if I was interviewing a rage hacker at that point in time, I would have been like, listen, you're a scumbag, and this is why. And I'd have reeled off a list of reasons why. And I wouldn't have cared about being DDoS'd or doxed or anything like that. Listen, I'm sure my address or anything about me, my personal details, are probably floating about these cheating communities. And I said it to Brick You a Rage, like what would happen if somebody turned up at my house? Like, it's not going to be me who's getting the problem. It's going to be them. So, I mean, no one's turned up. So I don't know whether the information's out there, but these guys, at the time I was angry about them more specifically, was because they actually had a channel in their Discord server, like called BadBoy Beaman Information. It had like images of me, it had like an address, it was the wrong address. I'm not even lying. It was the wrong address. It had loads of wrong information. I think they found my Facebook profile, and that was all that was right in it, which that's long gone now. I'm all changed up on Facebook, and everything about me that's personal is hidden online, other than one thing.
Listen,
which, by the way,
you've got some crazy people who want you. Let me tell you, like, when you look at me and our like little back and forth, it is nothing compared to what some of these guys are willing to do and try to say. Because
bring it on.
I've gotten but I've gotten messages of people doing the weirdest shit, chasing after you. And I know. I say to them, what the fuck are you doing? You think I'm gonna like applaud this? Like, get the fuck out of here. You're fucking weird. And I tell them straight up. And when, like I said, when I first reached out, it was because I was told about you being doxxed and everything else. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, what do you mean? I wanted to know more. I wanted to know who you are. Why are you literally being targeted by these people? So I don't think any of that's right. I don't care whose side you're on. You shouldn't go after a content creator. If someone has beef with someone, you shouldn't go into their stream. I think it goes without saying, and talk shit. And you shouldn't like cause problems with them just because of an opinion. But that's why I had a problem with your videos, was because they caused people to do that. And you may not have intended that. You may not have realized that. But I was posting videos after, what I said about you. And because of that, minus, I probably lost maybe like 500 subs. And like, hey, if they don't like me, they don't like me because of an opinion. That's fine. I'll see you later. But those people came, and instead of unsubscribing and not watching my videos, they would come and talk shit, call me whatever name they wanted to call me.
Yeah.
And I would have to sit there, and it became an extra level to my job of, all right, now I got to make sure that these comments are deleted, that they're, trying to hide N-words and everything else. Like, and that's a thing that you don't want people to come and watch your video and then go to the comment section and see that. You want them to have a good time and feel safe in your videos. So
yeah, of course.
That's why I deleted all those videos. It was a negative thing.
They seemed to come out like one after the other, and I was just like, damn, this guy's obsessed. And then, but I get it, like, there was stuff to be said. You wanted to say it, and you put a video out about it. And it did cause you to lose a few subscribers. I kept an eye on that, and that's not something I condone either. Like, it's up to them. If they want to subscribe to you, that's fine.
Of course.
If they don't. But any use of racial slurs or homophobic slang, anything like that, I always tell people. I had somebody recently. I posted a tweet out about J-God, and somebody posted about something to do with his history, and I won't mention it on here. And I'm sure you probably are aware about something that's happened in his past. That it's an extremely sad story. And I said, like, listen, this is no place to be posting information like that. Anything personal, keep it to one side. This is online. This is video games, and we're talking about stuff that's happening in a game. Don't take it so personal. Don't go all out on somebody with personal information. If they want that public, they'll probably share it public themselves. And that kind of thing, like, it really does grind my gears. But again, you can't control who's your follower base. You can't, and I'm not saying this person was, in fact, from my follower base, because when I said that, you know, they started taking sly digs at me about other things, you know, clip manipulation, rage hacking, all that. So they weren't one of my followers, but they commented on my tweet. So I made sure I let it be known publicly to remove that, to remove the comments. And like you said, it's hard work when you get that. But I've decided to just sort of let people say what they want to say. Yeah, I don't read them comments anyway. People come on, hey, let's face it, I think probably 70% of comments on my videos are of haters. They just come in, comment what they want. They don't watch the video, so I'm not going to read their comments. And you can tell when someone hasn't watched the video as well. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to watch this video though.
So you brought up something, and I agree with you 10,000%. But you brought up something talking about. See, this is my brain. My brain is so ADHD that I jump all over the place. You brought up a little bit ago the your gameplay, right? And the argument that not only have I made, obviously a lot of people have made, is, you know, oh well, he's a bot, right? He doesn't know a VPN lobby if that's his lobbies. And I can say I think you have a great knowledge on cheats. I do. I do think you understand the cheats. I do think you've tested them well, and I think you can pretty well differentiate the cheaters from the Timmies. But when it comes to actually classifying gameplay, right, and actually sitting down and knowing the difference between someone at the highest skill they could be, right, which we don't even know what the real ceiling is, because there are people that are still hitting marks that it's like you have to be cheating, but it's in Valorant, which has a amazing anti-cheat. So it's like, how is this possible? And so with that, I'd say is that how do you feel that you can differentiate those two?
Well, what I tend to do, right, I give my opinion on these clips for that reason. And there are times I've made mistakes in the past. There was one with Huskers where I was talking about the UAV, and I think everybody knows about that. The worst part about that is it was just a simple slip of the tongue, a little, you know, brain fart, as you like, because there were videos prior to that. I'm sure if I could go and dig them up, they'll still be on my channel somewhere. But where I've actually mentioned about the chevrons on the UAV, and I've made it very apparent now every time I talk about a UAV that I do let people know about the chevrons. Every time I think about UAV, I'm like, right, remember the chevrons, simply for that reason, because of that one clip. But there was still something very suspicious about that moment. But again, you're saying that that's to do with levels of gameplay. Okay. And that's understandable. But there are things that happen in-game, right? There are in-game, let's call them bugs, right? So, for example, when the mechanic of an enemy fall into the ground, sort of glitches to the side, that can cause aim assist to fall slightly. But when you've got aimbot on at that moment, depending on what position it's locked to, whether it's locked to the head, the chest, depending on the aimbot speed, smoothness and all that, it can look so different. And that's hard for me to say to you, listen, this is aimbot, and that's in-game, you know, dodgy mechanics. That's the difference. But unless you've gone out of your way and tested these things, you wouldn't know. And that's why I always put things out in my opinion, because, you know, 99% of people don't understand the cheats at the level I do. Whereas there's probably a high percentage of people who understand the game better than I do. But what I do is I analyze every single situation. Anything that I put out in a video, I make sure I've analyzed it fully, tried to debunk it the best I can, to the best of my ability. I've asked other people their opinions, people with, you know, better stats in the game than me, for their opinion, and they're saying, oh, well, no, I've never seen anything like that before, right? So that is how I do it. There's a whole process I go through. I'm not just like, no way you can do that. Nah, that's going in a video. There's no way I would do that because, again, like you said, that could actually really hurt somebody and their career. And there have been times in the past, like I've said, I've made mistakes. There was a guy called Vinny Nasty. He was a Twitch TV streamer, and the clip that I've been sent, right? And it wasn't like somebody had recorded it and sent it to me. It was a Twitch clip. So I've gone and watched it. And I'm like, how did he know that guy was there? Right? And then this guy's reached out to me and he's like, listen, I ain't got no beef with you, but that guy is visible. Let me send you the full VOD. I'm like, okay, makes sense. Sends me the full VOD. I checked it out and he was right. The guy was there. I put it out in a video and I'm like, look, you can see the guy just as he slides around the loadout. You can see the guy on the left And that's why he pre-aims through the loadout, peeks up and takes the shot, because you could see him there. People saying, that's photoshopped. I'm thinking, nah, it's not photoshopped, it's a video. And if it was edited to that effect, this guy is in the wrong business as a streamer, because it looks so real. But what did I do then? I took the video down, I put out a public apology, and I sent my whole community over to support him, because I made that mistake. And I understand what you're saying in the, like what you said earlier about, like, you know, if you do know, or if you don't know that he is and don't know that he isn't, and you don't make a video about it. I felt like at the start of my journey that it was a hell of a lot more personal for me because of how I got into it. I had never touched cheats. I'd never touched PC gaming before I decided to learn about cheats. And that was because I was on PlayStation. Always been a PlayStation user ever since PS1. Never had an Xbox. Well, I had them, but always used PlayStation along the way. And my friend who I was streaming with at the time moved over to PC. I didn't think anything of it. He was sly though. He done things behind my back, which was basically robbing my community. At the time, I was pushing like 150 viewers, concurrent viewers on Facebook Gaming. I was doing okay for myself. I built it up from about 10 viewers all the way up to 150, and it started slowly dropping. He's the guy I was confiding in, giving phone calls, video calls at the end of every stream. I don't know what's going wrong. What should I do? I'm doing everything I usually do. And people are just dropping out. So he's, I don't know, man, just stick at it, It turns out he'd made a fake Facebook profile. He was adding people as friends, then inviting them to like his page. Then when they were going into his stream, he was like, hey, you want to come in for a few games, get a win? And he was carrying them to easy wins. How was he doing that? Because he was using cheats. He was using aimbot, and this was before anybody really understood what aimbot looked like. He was actually using them to the point where it was snapping and locking. And that's where my journey started right then. I actually quit streaming. I moved away from it all. I had about a week away from it because I felt like everything I'd put into building to where I got to had just been shat on by someone I thought was a close friend. And that's why I then decided, you know what? No, I think he's up to no good. I'm going to go and see what these cheats look like. And I tested them out. And I was like, yeah, he's cheating. And then it didn't stop there. I continued doing the research and decided, you know what? There's plenty of other people out there who are probably doing the same thing. So I started obsessing over it, watching people. Like, nah, he seems legit. He seems legit. Oh, something's not right with that. And that is where my journey started with it all. That's why I got into it.
And I think that's a very good reason to start, in a sense, like obsessing over who's cheating and who's not, and like getting into it and really wanting to do that research. But the thing that, I mean, with your story of how you started, although it's a great story, there's a part that I'm not connecting the dots on with that, which is there was a message back and forth with, I forgot who it was.
Yeah.
One of your moderators, that was sent to me, and he reached out and sent me messages between you guys, and there was one of them talking about, oh, my account just got banned and my other account is banned, and I'm pissed off.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason I was pissed off at that point was because I loaded in onto my PC using my main account. Decided, you know what? No, I'll make a separate account on PC and use that one to do the tests. Running the tests on the second account, and because they were both linked to that hardware ID, they both got banned. But what you don't realise is that was one of my moderators reaching out to me. And at the time, it wasn't not public knowledge, but I had a video recorded and ready to go out. And I decided to then re-record it and add bits in about that conversation that had been leaked. And the reason that it was mentioned about Mo Harrisy was because I had actually done at that point. Mo Harrisy wasn't a moderator, by the way, and he wasn't anybody who I had ever played with. He was somebody who I'd put videos out on. And the fact that he basically tried to message me on my personal profile, making threats at the time. And I was like, wow, what's going on here? How does he know about this? He sent me that. So that conversation you've seen was me and him having a back and forth due to the fact that how has Mo Harrisy found out the information he knew? It was private conversation. It turns out that my moderator at the time was paid a lump sum to try and leak personal information on me, and he just went and screen recorded the whole conversation me and him had, which there was nothing in there that wasn't already in the video on my YouTube channel. So that conversation was taken well and truly out of proportion. And that's, there's a couple of screenshots there. But somewhere, I'm sure, well, no, they won't be there now because I deleted my old Facebook account. But that is something as well, which I was talking about, the misinformation that was put out in that video, because you did bring that up around the time when you mentioned about Y8 as well.
Yeah.
None
But
of that
you were streaming though, I thought, during that time.
No. I went back to streaming on PlayStation 4. I tried to have a couple of goes again, and again, I was getting like 5 viewers. I moved away from it completely. When I started doing these videos, everyone's like, you're a bot. How do you know if someone's cheating? I was like, well, if you actually, which you won't be able to now because I have deleted that Facebook page, but if you were to have gone back and ever saw any of my content, I used to play a game 3 days a week called Naughty or Nice, where you could, drop stars like a donation, like bits, but for Facebook, and get me to drop my gun. I'm not allowed to use a gun then for the rest of the game. Yeah? Or lose my gulag on purpose, or riot shield only, or pistol only, and, these were the things, but that was the naughty side of the list, and there was the nice side as well, where, people could say, get your load out. If somebody had told me I wasn't allowed it, they could say I was allowed it. So all my stats on that account don't really make up for what type of player I actually am. Am I a 5KD player? No. Am I a 1KD player? No. I'm somewhere in between. I have a good day and a bad day, but I'm somewhere in between. Right now on PlayStation, I think I've got like a 1.9.
Well, maybe we sit down and we have a gameplay, and that'll be the follow-up to this, and we continue the conversation.
Maybe when I hit 100K, we'll put out a gameplay video. I know everyone's really excited to see me play.
Well, listen, we could always just do a game offline and no record, but I want to see personally how you play. You put a lot of propositions to a lot of creators, and I think it's only fair I throw one out for you that if you truly think you can differentiate between someone cheating and someone who's skilled, then put the money where your mouth is. We'll throw a little wager and have fun. But I think with that being said, I've had my fair share of accusations, including someone that you've promoted, putting, and not you say promoting, I say promoting, but truly it's as simple as, hey, this person put out a video, I liked it, check them out if you want, and it's nothing crazy, but it's enough to say my audience is welcomed at this video and possibly more. But there are a few videos claiming that I'm looking left and everything else. I mean, he's obviously watched your videos. So he came in and one day sat in my chat for, I don't know, an hour or two, 10 minutes behind, mind you, in the chat. So he's not even hearing what I'm saying when it's happening. And we had to tell him refresh. But I was like, what do you want to see? I'll open my files. I dual PC setup. So you're getting the full setup of this computer. So what do you want? And that was something that he just said at the end of it, after 2 hours of harassment on this, goes, well, I don't think you're cheating right now, but you're cheating. And then left. And it's like, well, why would I cheat all these other days and not this day and have no idea you're coming in? It's not like you messaged me and told me, hey, I'm coming through today. Be ready.
Yeah.
So
the issue there is not pudding as such. I wasn't there. I didn't see the conversation or any of the comments he said. But the issue at hand is the fact of how easily you can just eject your cheats. You can press a button, they're gone, right? And I don't mean like, they're turned off. You can literally eject them. They can be on a USB drive. They can literally be like built into your controller. They can be built into your mouse and keyboard. There's scripts, there's macros, there's devices. Honestly, it's, I've started going down the path of finding new things. Even now I find new things that I didn't know about. And that's the issue, is how easily they can be turned off. So you say about, well, why would I cheat all of these other days and not today if I didn't know you were coming in? Well, what if you saw this first comment and just turned them off? I'm not saying that I think you cheat, Rara. I'm not, because I don't. I've actually watched your gameplay, and I think that you're a legit player. I think that you are actually a pretty good player as well. And the issue I have with some of the videos you put out defending certain streamers is that I see you as one of the people who I think potentially should be getting recognised, should be getting recognised for your stats in the game, your gameplay, your overall creativity, you know, your presence on stream, all of that. You've got the whole package. Maybe once or twice you have a little bit of a meltdown or something, right? And you go on a little tweet spree and say some things, and you put a video out and then you remove them. But other than that, you've got the whole package. So while I'm putting these videos out, it's not for personal gain. It's not just for me. It's literally to look out for the legitimate streamers. And I would put you in that category. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that you need me to look out for you. That isn't what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that's why I do it, for the people who are legitimate, like yourself. So if Puddin thinks that you cheat, and I'm sure he's got reason to believe so, whether or not it's you looking left or your aim snapped or anything, I don't know. I haven't seen it. But I'm sure if he did genuinely believe he cheated, he'd put videos out about it. And if he has, I've not seen it. Has he put a video out?
Oh no, he's put a video out, a 30-minute video.
Has he? Yeah, I didn't see that one then. I might have to check it out.
It was somewhere along the lines of like a mix between me talking about the falsehoods of the hacker hunters, and then the other side was claiming I'm cheating, and that's why I'm involved. It's a long thing, and I still get comments on videos like, check out Puddin's video on this guy. It's like, I mean, you could try to self-promote or promote him and whatever you want, but listen, ask me any day to show you what I'm using. Ask me any day to put the camera behind me. I'll play the same. It's not going to change.
Yeah,
and
so you're saying if I was to ask you to put a camera behind you, you would do it?
Oh yeah, I did it.
I'm not asking you, but that's your reaction there and then straight away. Yeah, okay, I'll set it up. Whether it be that stream or the next stream, whatever. Is that going to be in your way while you're playing your game?
Not in my way, but it makes the setup look a little clouded. Like when Mutex does it, right? When Mutex does it, yes, it supplies a lot of information and a clear cut, I'm not doing anything, right? With me, you're talking about someone that is very, very anal about their quality. Someone that's like trying to figure out the best way to edit it down. And when I do things, I want to make sure that it looks good and transition. So it makes me feel a type of way to have a second camera either on the left or under me or anything else. But I would do it for the sake, if people really truly believed I was cheating, I'd be like, okay, let's set it up. I'll get the new webcam. Because what I did with Puddin was I literally took my giant camera from in front of me and got a tripod and put it behind me.
You have got a big camera as well. I've seen a photo of it somewhere. It's like the big camera, man.
Hey, you know, sometimes we got to overcompensate. We're not all born with it. But it's a hard thing to set up for me. But if I had to buy a second camera or buy a webcam, I would do it. I would have to definitely make this look a little cleaner in here, but I would do it. And that's the thing, though, is would I want to do it for everything? Yeah, if I was being accused constantly, maybe. But I'm a quality hound. I like things to be really clean. For a long time, I was recording my webcam and my game separately so that even through a dual PC setup, like downloaded these plugins so that I can record all of my layers separately and put them cleanly on so that they were 4K and then brought down res to be as clean as possible and as sharp as possible. So, you know, but I would do it if I really was like people truly believed it. Sure.
I think that's the way to go about it. I sat there scratching my head for a while. How can these guys prove if they are legit? You know, give them the opportunity to, not necessarily the opportunity, but a lot of people think they're cheating. You know, a lot of these big streamers. There's some that I think are, there's some that I think don't. And obviously I've made it public that my opinion on certain streamers. And I think that, you know, having cameras behind you, you know, that takes away any devices on your desk, anything foot pedal wise, any wall hacks, anything ESP, and it takes away at least 90% of potential cheats, right? Mm-hmm. So there's still an aimbot issue there, and that's the big issue, which is why stats need to be checked. That's why gameplay will need to be analysed, but that's also why there's a camera on a foot pedal. Is that foot pedal for Discord to mute and unmute, or have you got buttons on like a Stream Deck that you use or anything of the sort? You know, so if they're saying that their foot pedals for Discord and they're looking at their left monitor to check Discord, then fair enough. That'll all be seen on the cameras. Everything that they've said they do and what they're doing, would be seen on the cameras. It would only be the aimbot side of things, which for me is the easiest thing to detect. But again, a lot of people don't see that in the same way I do. You mentioned earlier about the hacker hunter community or the hacker hunters. Do you involve me as like a part of a group of other content creators who do similar things? Do you think that I'm a part of that group?
The thing is you're not as like at a time, I would say in my head, I thought this is the ringleader, right? And there's all these people who want to be like him. And now what I've more come to is that it's not that you're a ringleader. It's that you make your content, you do what you got to do, and you want to provide for yourself. And I totally understand it. And then there's people that see your success and say, I want what he has, and follow your you know what you've built. They want to be just like you, but you're not here holding their hand and telling them how to do it. I had a conversation with Headband months ago before all of his drama. And
that's his nickname now as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now he's got it. Oh, well, congratulations. But he messaged me about, I forgot, some clip, because he's a fellow New Yorker and whatever. And I'm like, listen, man, I'm gonna give it to you straight. As one, I know he had his past and he had everything else, and I'm not gonna get into it. But with my own self, I had a past with drugs, alcohol addiction, you name it. I was a part of it. And so when I got out of that, and then I heard his story, I reached back out to him and said, hey, I want you to know that I don't want you to relapse. I don't want you to do anything else. You can always message me. You can always hit me up. And that's fine. And he appreciated that. But with his own clips, he has no idea what he's talking about. He's reaching with everything. And I said to him, I was like, you need to know that you're reaching. You know you're reaching. And then he did what he did about his own clip. And so it comes back to bite you in the ass. And I think a lot of these guys are the hacker hunter group. I don't put you necessarily as the hacker hunter group. I put Daily, I put Puddin, I put, Truth Seeker. I put a lot of those guys in one thing. Yeah. I like Truth Seeker's content. As many videos as he's got on me, I like his content.
He has got a few on you, hasn't he? Yeah. I was sat there for a while thinking to myself, right, would Rara have the balls to start something like that and put out videos about himself? Because, listen, right, this is my trailer thought behind it, is that you drummed up this beef. You spoke about beef in videos that we had, and I'm thinking, we don't have any beef. Like, that's my thoughts on it. We didn't have any beef yet. Okay, I put Rara sniff spike seats in my tags. I made called you who and blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But would you go as far as making a second channel to drum up beef? And I thought, nah, I don't think he's got time surrounded streaming. And then I remember the Truth Seeker put out the clip of you talking about the Holocaust and the Nazis and the Jews and stuff like that. And I feel like, that was a bit inappropriate, but also feel like you were trying to reference what was going on, but couldn't find anything comparable, I'm going to say, because I don't think it was in any way comparable to the Holocaust and what happened there.
No, I listen, I got Jewish heritage. It has nothing to do with necessarily the Holocaust. It was that it was a comparison, but a very bad one. Yeah. And the more, if I was to take that out, right, and just delete that conversation, I would. But my main issue with the hacker hunters that I was trying to make was that a lot of people started hacking because of fear. A lot of people started hacking because of fear, because they thought, I'm not going to get a game where I'm not going to get a hacker. I'm not going to get a game and enjoy it. The only way I'm going to enjoy this is joining them. And so it became apparent that all these people started cheating because they think, well, my favorite streamer's cheating, so why can't I? If they can get away with it, why can't I? And because of so many accusations, I was seeing an influx. And again, I'm not placing the blame 100% on you guys, because there are content creators who sit down like myself and will say, look at this freaking guy hacking in this lobby. Like, while I'm playing, he killed me. I'm going to watch it, because one, people are going to watch me watch it. And two, it is kind of entertaining to watch. Do I want to hack? Hell no. But I want to see if this guy's as bad as he is and he's using cheats. or if this guy is good and he's using cheats. I want to talk shit on him. And so that's why I made that distinction. Do I think it was a good one? No. I do, take it back, but I do think that there's a fear factor.
There is a fear factor, but what you've got to realise is that people already have their own opinions on what's going on in the game. How many of those people who've watched my videos have then decided to go and cheat because of my videos? There's probably a few, yeah. But how many people have already made their minds up about it due to the fact that every lobby they're in, there's rage hackers? Because you've got to realise that people who don't understand what cheats look like understand what a rage hacker is. They understand something is aimbot when a guy is snapping all over the place. So maybe they're like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. But again, it comes down to content creators like yourself putting out a, oh my god, I dropped into a game of solos and this happened, and a rage hacker, destroys the lobby. All those videos, it's not you, it's not just you rather, but it's all content creators. They want to put out a video because Tim the Tap Man done it, or Swag done it. And then everybody follows because it's trends, and that's how YouTube works. That's how Facebook gaming works with content. So you follow the trend, and the trend seems to have stuck. And then I think one of the biggest issues with rage hacking, right, and you can place blame on the hacker hunters if need be. Think about Facebook gaming as a gaming platform. It was only a couple of years into its progress as a gaming platform, and then Warzone come out, rage hacking come out, and the likes of Baricua Rage Gaming and a couple of others started a trend on that platform, which I think not only tarnished the game, it tarnished streamers as a whole. It tarnished Facebook gaming so much so that people see that platform as a bit of a joke now. I've got friends who stream on that platform still, and they're doing well for themselves, and I think hats off to them because they're doing well. But that platform is still tarnished because of the likes of Baricua Rage Gaming, rage hacking live on stream, and being able to get away with it for so long, which brings me to the point you made earlier about how your video got mentioned by Charlie Intel, and then Facebook Gaming actually come out and announced that they were changing the terms of service so that people can't cheat in games. And I remember all that. And I waited and waited and waited and couldn't find the option to actually report them. The whole process, still to this day, is so long-winded to the point where you've actually got to speak to somebody in this automated service until you actually get a real person and then report it through there. And you have to select options that aren't actually involved with rage hacking. But all of these things happening for the public to see with their own eyes is what's causing them to say, do you know what? All right, maybe they've had enough of the game at that point, decided I'm not playing this anymore, so I'm going to go and cheat. Is part of the blame to do with people doing hacker hunter videos? Probably. Part of the blame to do with people spectating hackers? Probably. You can't just place blame on one select group. And I know you didn't, but you did sort of insinuate that I was a big part of the problem back when you actually said that in a video, and I remember that very yeah. And I just wanted to get that off my chest of the whole issue, and I'm just like one little water drop in the ocean of that issue. I think I've done more good than bad, but that's my opinion again, and I'm sure yours.
He hit me with the line. He hit me with the line. That's my opinion. Hey, listen. No, I'll
know if you edit that out.
No, I'm keeping that. You kidding me? No, I agree with you. Listen, I said it from the beginning, and I'll say it again. You may not be the main issue, but I think you have definitely influenced people, not even just cheaters, but influenced these other people who are now content creators making the same videos to do it with less research at all compared to you, and really even less knowledge of the game than you. And that's getting in dangerous territory.
But I know what you're saying.
Everyone's gonna be chasing success. I don't blame you for that. I'm not blaming you for people want to copycat it. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying there are people now that I label as the hacker hunter group that are all trying to do the same thing.
Listen,
and a lot of them are scared.
I've got a handful of them people who I actually do speak with. People actually put Sergeant Stressful in that hacker hunter group, right? But he's not. He's like a comedy act. He's like a skit, and he puts videos out basically impersonating certain streamers. He done one of Z-Lane, and he's done one of Diaz Biffle. He's done quite a few of them. Does little, they're called Stressful Opinions. I think his content is quality. Now, how did I come to find myself watching his content was actually when a video come out from Zenon saying that I manipulated clips, right? Sergeant Stressful done a video saying BadBoy Beaman apologises to Zenon, and it was just him sat there with my face on his going, oh, I'm so sorry. And I thought, this guy's hilarious. Yeah. He saw the situation going on and made light on it by making a joke about it. I thought it was hilarious. But then you've got, right, and I'm going to get into this now, because then you've got the hacker hunters, right, who just regurgitate other people's content. Now, you can say that that's hypocritical in some way, but if I put a video out and I say, listen, in this clip, I'm seeing this, this, and this, and in my opinion, it resembles this, right? What do you guys think, right? That's a general conversation. I'm putting it out like that. But if I've got then hacker hunter number 1, I'm not going to say any names, but if I've got hacker hunter number 1, putting that out as 1000% proof, so-and-so, aimbot. You see the issue there? That then drags me into that because they've used the same footage and they're saying 1000%. So then people generalize it and think that I've said 1000% as well.
No, of course. And not only that, but there's videos of those people where you have reacted to them. And I know that. Again, not going to say names, but with Sergeant Stressful, I mean, listen, he was a longtime follower of mine, like way before he was making content. And I think he's got something good going and he can grow that into something bigger. I don't classify him as a hacker hunter. I classify him as, you know, a comedian.
Yeah.
So he's got his own bit going. And I did have to ban him in chat because he was egging some people on. So I let him go for now. We'll see if I unban him, you know. He'll have to put a ban request in. But some of those other guys regurgitating and everything else, it's like, yes, it is a problem. I agree with you.
Yeah. Well,
and
you actually, you started off, you said you started off doing similar content, right? You actually sent me a message when, I think it was around the time I started to really take off, and you wanted to give me a little bit of a, not a thank you, sorry, like a, congrats on the growth. I think you said, peep the growth, my guy, or something along those lines. And then you went on about saying that you don't know how I have time to go after, the small no names, like, because it's a lot of time and energy put into it. And I need to be careful what I say about the big guys, because if I'm wrong, it could really fuck me. Something along those lines. I'm not directly quoting what you said, but I think
right. No, I definitely remember this.
So you talked about the small guys, how I've got the time and energy, but then later down the line, well after I've been accused of this, that, and the other, and I'm still continuing to put out videos, you started putting them out again. And actually, some of the stuff you were saying, some of the things you were talking about, like the Dav's car video, like you got that to a T. Everything you said in there, you understood it, and you analysed it pretty well. But then people have like this opinion that you will see one thing with one guy, and then when it comes to certain other streamers, you won't say what you're seeing. I want to know whether or not you genuinely believe that there was differences between, I think it was a Hoppin' Dude video recently where he actually overlaid your cam on a Diaz Biffle clip by the bus. It might not have been Hoppin' Dude. It might have been.
it was Hoppin' Dude.
Yeah.
I've watched the video and I know what you're going to say. Do I think Biffle's cheating based on,
I wasn't going to ask you that. I wasn't going to ask you that. I don't want you to directly answer yes or no to that. But if you want, you can.
No, I got no problem talking about it. I mean, I broke down the whole video essentially in one of the recent ones of the truth of is Diaz Biffle cheating or is this Warzone Pro cheating? Forgot what I said, but I don't think he is, and purely because when you look at the actual footage and you start connecting the dots, I do in that video of look at him pulling back, actually walking backwards. That's one form of aim assist happening. Then the guy is jumping, getting down with a 20 pull rate, right?
Yeah.
For the servers. Like he's desyncing and then landing back. So that's going to, like you said before, the glitch effect.
Yeah.
So that's going to get added. And then you had, what else? There was like stuff with the footage that he edited in where it's like, well, you didn't have to do that. You can hear the guy walking and it's like, he knows he's coming around the peak. It's like, I can hear him. You can hear him. We all hear him.
But it was your words that he used in that clip, wasn't it? Which is something that you'd actually recently done prior to that with a video of me analysing your footage, which is something I'd never actually done. Because like I said, I don't think you're cheating, but I think
I
he
thought it was
saw
funny
that.
when I did it though. I was doing it as a humor thing, and so was he, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone would like be confused by watching my video or his video that you were actually breaking it down because I was using it as a transition. But I actually got messages from people saying, "I can't believe he broke down your gameplay and would think you're cheating." And I'm like, "But he didn't." Like maybe I did it too well the edit. Like maybe I
Yeah.
should have made it a little more obvious.
So
But
just put a disclaimer in your description of your video if you're doing stuff like that. But I think that for me personally, I understand what you were saying earlier about large streamers, not large streamers, sorry, but good Warzone players, people who are amazing at the game. And you're saying that there's a level that hasn't even been reached yet. And I get that. I do understand that. But when somebody, one person, one individual has got hundreds of moments that you would say, that's sus, but if it's just the one, we'll leave it. But they've then got hundreds of them. I mean, someone's got to be going on. So I'm going to say this. If there's hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line in these high-end tournaments for streamers, popular streamers to get involved in, do you think that that actually has a higher percentage of people who would think, do you know what, I might try and cheat to earn that money? Or do you think there's less chance of people, cheating for that money?
well, I'll put it the way your fans always say to me. If we're in the Olympics and I have a better chance at getting, that gold medal if I, start juicing and doing a little steroids, why wouldn't I do it? And the reason is because one, if I get caught, and two, if my peers find out. Because in no way do I think every single person in there would ever be cheating. Every single person.
No, of
So
course, yeah.
I'm sure you have names that you would say that guy's never going to cheat and he's great. And that's why when I look at those tournaments, I say, if those people are cheating, it might not get found out, right? But yet they will eventually get found out. And when they do, it will be by the people that are in that tournament. Just as Davskar was called out, by FIFA Kill and by I forgot who else said it, Tommy or someone else. But just as he was called out, it wasn't just because he's a small streamer or a partnered streamer. It was because he was in a big tournament with them. And I think they would call out the other people's, just as Tommy called out the guy that used to play with Lucky and all them. Yeah, pace setter.
Yeah.
And it's like I had a direct conversation with one of the guys there, Rafi. If you don't know Rafi, he's their manager in a sense, their Hex. And I said to him, I was like, listen, it's upsetting that the kid had to go and do that. And I'm sorry that he brought this kind of name and this kind of shame to your whole group, but you got to move on. You guys got to do your thing. I was like, because I put out a video previously to that talking about the VPN lobbies when I did the video on Hydro. And, oh no, it wasn't even VPN. It was just reverse boosting using a low KD thing. But I was like, I'm sorry I mentioned these guys without even doing research because I was just like having fun with the video when I was doing it. I was a nobody. But this is a very clear indicator that you have a problem here and you need to make sure that no one else in your group is doing it because they will get caught just as these guys are getting caught, just as Pacesetter was caught.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I still believe that none of the other guys are cheating. Now, if it comes out, I will take that L. I will say I was wrong. I got no problem admitting when I do something wrong, but I also am a firm believer in telling it how it is.
So
and I truly believe it. I know you are.
I am. I'll say it how it is, whether you like it or not. And I think that what you said earlier about the Olympics or any form of sports, you say that you're not going to do it. But that's your own integrity right there, saying to you, no, it's not worth the risk. Some people don't have that. Some people are like, I need that money. I need that fame, right? And narcissism is a glorious thing to some people, yet they don't even realize it's happening and it takes over and they're like, I am the best. I am the best. No, mate, you wall hacks and you ain't bot are. But they will continue to do it because they haven't been caught and they'll fine tune it to the point where they can't get caught anymore. Or they'll get signed or they'll have won $1 million worth of tournament earnings. And then what? Maybe 2-3 years down the line, it gets called out. Oh, so and so's cheat menu popped up. How long have you been cheating for? Oh, it's the first time I tried it. Do you see what I mean? But when in fact they've been using it for the past 3 years, earning millions of dollars. It's happened in sports. Canelo was caught with PEDs, right? Let's talk about the UFC. What was the Alistair Overeem when he fought Brock Lesnar for the title and destroyed him? He was caught using PEDs. He was tested afterwards, and he was caught with steroids in his system. And then he was stripped of the title. When he come back to the UFC, he looked like a stick insect. He was like, because obviously he wasn't juicing. It happens in all sports. It's happened in the Olympics. How many sprinters have been found with, steroid abuse? And this is the thing that, what makes streamers different in a video game where they're able to do it, without any tests, without any checks, because they're in the comfort of their own home on their own setup.
There's going to be a day that we look back and we say, I can't believe I didn't catch X, Y, and Z, right? I agree that there's always going to be people that come out that either I'm unsure of or even you're unsure of, and we never research it, right? But it will get found out. I don't doubt that, or better yet, I doubt that every pro in a lobby is going to look the other way while $100,000 is on the line. $50,000 on the line, even $1,000 is on the line. No one is going to look the other way because that is life-changing money for a lot of people.
Okay, but then there's contracts in place, NDAs, organizations signing certain people so they're not allowed to talk about each other, right? And I know this, like Facebook Gaming, for example, one Facebook Gaming partner can't really start a beef with another Facebook Gaming partner because it could jeopardize both of their contracts if there was a back and forth. It did actually happen with Nitro Luke DX and Jeff Leach. They ended up having a back and forth. They both lost their contracts with Facebook Gaming because of that. And they're both still on the platform streaming, but they're only level up streamers now. They're not partnered. And I genuinely believe that agencies, talent agencies, organizations, all of that, maybe they don't know what's going on, but they sure as hell don't want their own talent to be talking about each other in a negative way. Start bringing shade on that talent agency or that organization. So I look at everything like from an outsider's perspective and think, is it a possibility? Yes. How high of a possibility is it? Little, high, So I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, it goes all the way to the top. How far up does it go? Activision's providing the cheats. No, there are people out there who are saying that. I disagree with that. And hey, maybe they are, but hey, I haven't got proof that that's happening. I haven't got proof to even give me like a 50% idea that it could happen.
So are you telling me that video you made where you put the Beats logo in there might not eventually, lead that way?
No, there is definitely corruption within the industry, and that wasn't really led down the path of these guys are paying for these streamers to cheat. No, it's more a case of these guys are popular, and that's why they're getting these contracts with these big companies. But then because of them contracts, that's what's also keeping that streamer popular and boosting them through the system. How hard is it to grind and get to a point where you are recognised? It's at that point when somebody decides, do you know what, I'm going to give this guy a shot, right? And take him up with me, take you into a tournament with me, maybe you'll kill it and you'll get recognised, you'll get a couple of brand deals out of it and so on. And then it's like a snowball effect, but upwards, from that point. Everybody else at the bottom, it's hard work. And I think that there is definitely corruption within the gaming industry, just like there is in every industry. I was going to go down that route with a couple of videos, and I steered back a little bit because that can get dark very fast. You start finding things out you don't want to know, and it becomes political, and I didn't want to go down that route.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very vocal about a few things within this industry. I mean, anyone can look at my Twitter, and who knows? Listen, maybe one day I do have to shut my mouth because I talk too much. Maybe I do have to sign a contract because I say too much. But I don't think that anyone in the pro scene is signing any contract that says I can't call out someone that's costing me money.
It's not even that necessarily, but look at what's just recently happened to FaZe Kaylee, right? Because of her over sexual tweets, she's not allowed to enter into the World Series of Warzone. Or because of her over sexual tweets, as a FaZe member, she's not allowed to be a captain in the FaZe tournament because Call of Duty said so.
and that's you know, upsetting, and I don't think that's fair to do to anyone, because it is, you know, in my at least in the US, a free country, and you can have that freedom of speech. And Call of Duty's based in the US, so I don't see the issue. You know, Activision's right there. Is it because it's Activision Blizzard and now it's a little bit shady? Is it because they want to be more family friendly, even though it's rated M? Who knows? But I don't see an issue with her saying things sexual. I don't see an issue with someone making an OnlyFans. I don't see an issue with any of that stuff. I'm someone that says live your life and have fun. You know, as long as you're not hurting other people, have fun. And I don't agree with that. But you also need to remember that when you make certain decisions, they have certain consequences. Her growth, not that I'm not saying her growth is based on this at all, but because she's done these certain things, you're going to get more light. Not a lot of women like to talk like that publicly because you get, a stigma. She doesn't have a stigma behind her. She did it. She took the risk and she profited. Hell yeah, go crazy. You know what I mean?
But I think the issue that she had wasn't more that they had an issue with it over sexual tweets. I think maybe she'd accepted that at the time. It was the way in which they dealt with the swag getting a tattoo on his bum cheek, putting it on Twitter publicly. Not only did they accept that, they actually sort of guided him towards getting that, or once they done the update with the loadouts, they, reminded him of the tweet that he put out, which forced him to get it. And then they made it their display picture.
Well, so now you're talking about two different things, though, because I agree with you that that is totally a what's it called? Like an unequal representation of groups.
Right.
Oh, a woman can't say these sexual things, but this guy can post his ass and we'll put it on our Twitter. I agree. But now you're also talking about the people behind the social media account compared to someone higher up whose kid might watch FaZe Kaylee, might be a big FaZe fan in general. And that is a weird part that it's like hard because the guy who runs the Call of Duty account most likely also runs the Raven account or most likely runs, Call of Duty UK. Like, who knows where that will go, and who knows if that guy will get fired because he promoted them to do that.
Possibly. Although I don't wish that upon him, but I mean, I see what he done. It was funny, but at the same time, I don't see that there's anything within FaZe Kaylee's tweets that I would say this girl needs to rein it in. Not at all, because I think that she knows the line. Does she, just crosses sometimes? Yes, but doesn't everyone? Yeah. So I think that she's possibly been singled out, and I've seen her speaking out about this for quite a while, for the past year or more. Even when she was begging to get into certain tournaments, when she finally got an invite to a tournament, she was talking about it in the tournament. Oh my God, I'm so surprised I even got an invite to the tournament. Didn't get a captain spot, but I got an invite. I'm shocked. And it was because of the tweets that she was putting out. Now, I get it that people are all opinionated and everyone's opinions are different. But for a company to be able to dictate what their content creators are able to do and say and in things that aren't related to the game itself, right? So if she wants to put a tweet out on Twitter, how can that then dictate whether or not her as a content creator on Twitch can enter into a tournament in Call of Duty? You see what I mean?
And I agree with you, but look at Michael Phelps, who smoked weed at a party, and that was the reason that he got his gold medal stripped, because he had his gold medal on while he's smoking a bong and that picture leaked. But now it's way more, okay, but they're not giving him the medal back. That's gone.
No, but you got to remember, there's people who've served jail time for marijuana, and then, and then in certain states it's legalized in the US, and people will be sitting there thinking, well, hang on, I served 2 years behind bars because I was caught with this amount, and but if I was caught with that now, it's fine. The police officer would probably say, let's have a go, whatever they do, I don't know. But it's just, this is what I'm saying about corruption, though, within that gaming industry. It's within every industry, and that's why I steered back from it, because it gets deep and it gets dark, and, you lead yourself down that path. It's almost like conspiracy theories, and that isn't the route I wanted to go down at all. So I'm gonna.
Are you sure you have a tin hat thing going on that you really love?
Where is it? I'll find it now. There it is, no? It's
Yeah,
backwards.
there
My
you go.
camera's backwards. Gutted. But yeah.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect on my end.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you that it's corrupt in many ways, and then there's other ways that it couldn't be. But it is a dark path, and you
Yeah.
don't want to get involved in that too much when it gets really dark.
Yeah,
Start stepping on the wrong toes too.
Yeah, when you start going after multi-billion-dollar companies, I mean, they're probably going to end up suing you like they did to Zenon. Wait, no, that didn't work out too well for them, did it?
I mean, listen, can I say it's in my opinion the one CEO is in Mr. Epstein's book, or is that more of a, it's a fact? I don't know.
I don't want to talk about that, mate. I'll be honest. That's going down some sort of rocky road that there's no coming back from.
Nope. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I heard
he's not dead. He didn't kill himself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't say it.
Yeah. So one last question before we finish up here. It's been really good chatting with you, actually, today. I really enjoyed it. But one last question is, how does it feel knowing that my brother, Big Bad Beam, is one of your biggest fans?
I love the kid to death. I can't even say kid because I think he's around the same age as me. So, yeah, but I vibe with him. He's a good guy, and he's improving in the game, and he enjoys watching the stream. And he's always welcome, and so is anyone from your community. But he is a very, very dope dude. And I did say to him, I was like, listen, I'm sorry I put you in the music video, but how could I not? It was a perfect moment.
It was all true. He's got big titties. But this is the thing, is that I come into your chat recently to actually just pop in and I just wanted to drop an emoji and see what your reaction would be, to be honest. And he was in there, comments, and I was like, what the fuck? So I messaged him. I messaged him like, you in Rara's chat right now? That you? And he was like, yeah, I always watch him. All right, okay, right. So obviously now he's not my brother anymore. I've disowned him and he's gone and we never speak anymore. No, I'm only joking. But I just thought it was funny. And obviously you've said you think he's a dope guy or whatever you said. He's not. He's a clown. He does FIFA content, for Christ's sake. I mean,
I did tell him, I was like, you got to cut the FIFA shit out. I was like, get rid of it, man. Hey, listen, there was a while I thought he was Truth Seeker. I did my little research. So.
Do you think he's got the knowledge behind Call of Duty? He's in your chat trying to learn how to play the game.
I didn't think he could do thumbnails either, but then he dropped that little leak on me, and I was like, oh, okay. I see where you're getting those thumbnails. I was like, I talked all my shit about your thumbnails. I was like, no, don't tell me you're my biggest fan, and I'm telling you your shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't him. It wasn't him.
You thought it was Snail, didn't you? For a while, yeah. No, it wasn't Snail. I used to put an image of a snail on them thumbnails though, because obviously like Snail was behind the scenes helping me with stuff, but that's a whole other story. If I was to do like a group thing in the future, like a podcast with a couple of people coming in, well, maybe a hacker, maybe another streamer from another platform, and yourself, would that be something you're interested in?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I was actually going to propose to you that if you ever had a moment where you want to sit down and break down someone's gameplay and have two perspectives, the hacker side and the more, I won't call myself a pro, but a self-proclaimed pro, maybe.
You're not at that level, Rara. You're just not there, mate.
Yeah, not yet. Listen, if you look at where I was a year ago compared to now, though, I know I can get there. I've played with the right people, and I see how to move, and I've definitely outplayed enough people to know that I can get there. But I'll put that on the stage. I'll say yes to your offer as long as we get to sit down and do a duo game. No recording. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see what you look like. No hacks, though, either.
Maybe. I'll let you know about that one, because I've got things planned in the future of my channel that involve something similar to that, as well as sitting there with someone and breaking down gameplay. That is something that I would actually like to get you involved in. There's steps and levels to what I want to do in the process. But when that does come around, I will definitely give you a heads up about it, because if you want a 1v1, right, on Rust, I think that was a part of your song as well, wasn't it? Yeah. I'll 1v1 you on Rust, man. No problem. But that's at a later date, okay? It's been good having you on, Rara, mate. And I will link all your socials in the description of this video. So if anyone wants to go and check them out, feel free. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace. Peace.